Admit it, memories of the scary stories from your youth still send shivers down your spine. Every child heard tales of maniacs, ghosts, and alien abductions. And of course, all of them were true, since they happened not to some stranger, but to a friend of your cousin's girlfriend. Isn't that proof enough?
Number 10. The Suskin Screamer. Is there anything creepier than a dead bride? I doubt it. Stories about these unfortunate women exist in almost every country. Suskin Road in Pennsylvania, along with the railroad bridge over the Susquehanna River, is wrapped in dark legends. Locals claim that if you drive there, shut off your engine, place the keys on the roof, and wait a bit, you'll see the infamous Suskin Screamer in your rear-view mirror. Most say it's the ghost of a woman abandoned at the altar, who later committed suicide by jumping from the bridge, her final scream echoing through the night. Other versions tell of a strange creature with webbed feet, huge claws, and an enormous head. Maybe someone should ask the dead bride herself what really happened when she climbs into the back seat of your car. And now, let's go to number 9. Lillian Gray. This story begins with a gravestone in the middle of a Salt Lake City cemetery, Utah. It belongs to a woman named Lillian E. Gray, who died in the 1950s at age 77. Nothing unusual until you see the chilling inscription, "Victim of the Beast 666. Now that's disturbing. What could it mean? Was she sacrificed in a satanic ritual? A devil worshipper herself? A victim of a witch hunt? The locals spun dozens of theories, but the truth? Her paranoid husband, who hated the government and blamed the police for her death, ordered the bizarre engraving. That doesn't necessarily make the story less creepy, but it does explain it. Moving down to number 8. The Stowe Lake Ghost. San Francisco's Golden Gate Park is full of ghost stories. Locals swear it's crawling with spirits. You could bump into one while doing yoga. It might as well be called the Undead Park. But one tale stands out, the Stowe Lake Ghost. Reported in the San Francisco Chronicle on January 6, 1908. It begins with a man named Arthur Pigeon. He was pulled over for speeding and told the officer it wasn't his fault. He was racing to escape the lake. Why? Because he had seen a ghostly woman. She had long blonde hair, bare feet, and a haunting gaze. Legends say she was a mother who lost or even killed her child before drowning herself. Sure, Arthur might have just invented the perfect excuse for breaking the law, but the story stuck. Let's descend further to number 7. The Gates of Hell. Bobby Mackey's Music World in Wilder, Kentucky is a famous bar owned by country singer Bobby Mackey. But the place is better known for its terrifying legends. First, it's said to house an actual gateway to hell where demons cross into our world. Why? Who knows? Maybe they just really like country music and cheap beer. Second, the ghost of Pearl Bryan, a pregnant woman murdered in the late 1800s. Her lover, Scott Jackson, and his friend Alonzo Walling were hanged for her brutal decapitation. Third, the spirit of Joanna, a woman who fell in love with a club singer. Her furious father allegedly hanged the man in the dressing room. Joanna poisoned herself and supposedly still haunts the bar. Bobby Mackey even wrote a song about her, claiming she follows him to this day. And now, number 6 is waiting. Patterson Road in Houston, Texas. Civil War ghosts are said to linger on Patterson Road near Highway 6. The most haunted spot? The Langham Creek Bridge. Locals insist that if you park there at night with your lights off, you'll hear phantom tapping on your car or be engulfed in eerie fog. Skeptics argue that parking in the dark on a busy bridge is just a great way to become a ghost yourself. Time to continue. Number 5. The Goat Man. Scary stories are often made up by adults to keep kids in line, or by older siblings trying to mess with the younger ones. If you grew up in a Mexican family, you've probably heard of El Cucuy, the boogeyman. But in Beltsville, Maryland, the horror took a weirder form: the Goat Man. Some say he was a scientist from the Beltsville Agricultural Research Center who experimented on goats until one day he turned into one himself. Half man, half goat, a grotesque hybrid roaming the woods. Now, let's get darker with number 4. The Snallygaster. Back in the 1730s, German immigrants in Frederick County, Maryland, reported encounters with a terrifying monster. Soon the legend spread, a creature that was part bird, part reptile with a metallic beak and razor-sharp teeth. Even worse, it had octopus-like tentacles that could snatch people up and carry them away, feeding them to its hatchlings. The beast was named the Snallygaster. Reports of sightings spread from New Jersey to Ohio. Of course, considering what some folks in those states smoke, maybe it wasn't all that reliable. Moving on to number 3. The Green Man. Unlike most stories here, this one was real and tragic. In Coppell, Pennsylvania, people whispered about a faceless man who wandered the streets at night. They called him Charlie No Face, or the Green Man. In truth, he was Raymond Robinson, born in 1910. At age 8, he touched a live power line while climbing a bridge, suffering horrific facial injuries. The disfigurement was permanent. Because his appearance terrified people, children screamed at the sight of him. Robinson avoided going out during the day. Instead, he took nightly walks for decades, becoming a living legend. People even drove out late at night just for the chance to catch a glimpse of him. The horror continues with number 2. The Dog Boy. Quitman, Arkansas is full of ghost stories, but the creepiest comes from the Bettis house. In 1954, Floyd and Aline Bettis had a son, Gerald. As he grew, people noticed disturbing behavior. He captured and tortured dogs and cats. But the true horror, he reportedly kept his parents locked in the attic for years. After his father died, thrown from a window, some say, Gerald was arrested. He later died in prison from a drug overdose. Since then, strange lights, noises, and moving objects have been reported in the house. Considering Gerald's violent history, it's no surprise people say his ghost still lurks there. And finally, the number 1 spot. The Cha Man. One of California's most infamous urban legends comes from Ojai Valley's Camp Comfort Park. Locals tell of a burned, disfigured figure who haunts the area, the Cha Man. The stories trace back to a 1948 wildfire. In one version, a father and son were trapped by the flames. When rescuers arrived, they found the father's skin had been flayed by his own son, who then ran screaming into the woods. Another tale says a young husband was horribly burned, unable to save his wife as she cried for help. The trauma drove him insane. Either way, people claim that if you stop on the bridge near the park and get out of your car, the Cha Man will emerge from the forest, blackened, reeking of smoke, and eager to peel the skin from your bones. The end, or maybe not. So, that's our list of 10 terrifying urban legends, stories that blur the line between myth and nightmare. But legends like these are everywhere. And now, the question is for you. What about in your hometown? Do you have any creepy legends or chilling ghost stories? Share them in the comments.